We play and call it work.
Hey guys, Quirk here from MiniWarGaming.com, and welcome to this week's Sit and Talk. As you can tell, I'm not Matt. Probably the hair. What we're going to be doing is every week from so on and so forth for the Sit and Talks, we're going to be having a new guest come in, so it's not going to be Matt. We're going to be doing like a roulette style Sit and Talk. So next week you're going to be seeing Dave for the Sit and Talk. So as this goes through, if you have any comments, be sure to leave your comments below for Dave. And also, if you're on YouTube, go to MiniWarGaming.com because the comments for our YouTube channel are disabled. So it's nothing personal there. It just makes it easier for us for getting comments for the Sit and Talks. Just going to jump right into it here. 30 minutes, as you guys know, it goes from 30 minutes here and then 30 minutes in the vault for the Sit and Vault. So starting right off here. First comment is from Zompa. Quirk. How many wounds do Ludas have? 1. Ludas have 1 wound. I got 61 upvotes? Guys, it was a mistake. Okay, moving on. Next comment's from Cody Rue. Hey, Cody Rue. Quirk, a comment and a few questions and a challenge. Okay. Comment. Love the Xmas video. Nice job in trying to spread the Xmas cheer to your coworkers. Thank you. I had fun. First comment. Was working for MiniWarGaming your first deep dive into Warhammer 40k? No. Actually, the first deep dive was back when I was like 13, so 12, 13 years ago, something like that. Started off and I was playing Tau way back in 4th edition, and I played through it, and I went from Tau, then I went to Demon Hunters, then they got changed into Grey Knights. Everybody was ripping on Grey Knights at that point, so I switched over to Necrons. Then Necrons got a new update, and then 6th edition came out. All the rules went all over the place. I preferred playing more of the competitive than the random, so it wasn't like random charge distances. There was always a guaranteed 6-inch charge as an example. I enjoyed playing it that way. It became more random, and tournaments became a little bit less reliable with some armies. So at that point, I was like, you know what, this is something I'm not that interested in. And then I discovered War Machine, so I kind of transitioned from 40k into War Machine, and then spent a lot more time playing that. So this isn't my first deep dive into it. This is me getting back into it, and a lot of the rules errors that I make in a lot of the videos that I've been playing are actually me referring back to old 5th and 6th edition rules. So for like an example, embarking in a vehicle, it was only had to get 1 model within 2 inches and the entire unit could get in. Now you have to get everybody within 2 inches. That was certain little things like that that just kind of threw me off. So it's kind of relearning the rules and also forgetting old rules, and that's pretty much where that was. Question number 2. When you started playing Orcs, there was a number of rules errors being repeated, despite the comments in the video comments section pointing them out. Would you discuss what happened? Certainly. I ended up filming about 10 battle reports in succession, so in the span of 3 weeks, I filmed 10 battle reports, and they got posted, you guys saw, they got posted every couple weeks from then on out. So even though you guys were commenting on the rules errors that I made in the first video and the second video in the vault, it wasn't going to get corrected until like the 10th or 11th one because I had already filmed so many from then on out. Continuing the comment here, I suspect there isn't a complete answer, but combination of reasons. I think explaining will help educate the viewers on the difficulties faced by the producers, as well as shine a light on the delay time between filming bat reps and posting them. Yeah, that's pretty much what happens. It's I batch filmed a whole ton of battle reports, tons of errors in them. You guys commented on them, and as some of you have commented since, you've seen my battle reports getting a little bit less error-y. I don't know, that's the best I can do for that. But my rules errors are getting a little bit more reduced thanks to you guys leaving the comments, so you are definitely learning me something. Third comment, when you have guests/volunteers come into play, what do you do to build rapport with them? I ask them about their shirt. No, I'm just kidding. Usually for anybody who goes to tournaments and things like that, you have that whole, right when you first start, you kind of introduce yourself to the person, you don't know what their general rules are, you don't know what they're like, and as you play, you kind of chit-chat with them, and it builds rapport that way. Here we have a full 8-hour day with our guests, so what we end up doing is at the beginning we'll chit-chat, we'll discuss what kind of game do you want to play, what kind of stuff are you into, and then from there it usually can meld into some sort of a conversation about like where they're from, what they do for a living. That's really cool, and it just kind of builds up on that, and that's how you get a bit more rapport. And you can also kind of pinpoint a few things that they're interested in outside of the hobby that you kind of relate to, and it makes it a little bit easier to build rapport that way. Another thing that kind of helps me personally was that for the longest time before working here, I was actually a door-to-door vacuum salesman. So I had to build rapport with people from going into their house and like trying to sell them this product. So they had to like me. So I have that background to kind of help me with building rapport with people. So that's kind of what happens there. Question number 4. What 40k army that you've played so far is the one that is... Ooh. Oh, sorry. I totally read that wrong. Somebody walked in the room and threw me off. Thanks, Lee. Yeah. What 40k army that you've played so far is the one that is reasoning with you the best or suits your playstyle the best? Or have you found one yet that fits that role? Not really found one that fits that role. I like playing orcs just because I like running mobs and mobs of guys of people, and from my past experience with 40k it was, oh, I lost 10 guys. Oh, I can't believe I lost 10 guys. When it's orcs and I have a blob of 30 of them and it's like, oh, I lost 10 guys. I'm like, I need 5 of them to kill your unit, so just keep going. I like that kind of playstyle. I also really like the Harlequin playstyle where they just hit really, really hard. Problem is that they're kind of a glass hammer where they'll hit you hard really once and then they shatter. I'm finding kind of a happy medium with Space Marines, mostly with Ultramarines because they have their tactical doctrines that I can use. Not tactical doctrines, the combat doctrines that they can use, and they kind of help out with whatever's going on. I looked at all the different chapters and things like that, and they all have their own little special things, like White Scars have bikes, Salamanders have their flamethrowers and meltas and stuff like that. But I'm really liking Ultramarines just because they have this very vanilla type fit to them, where they can, it kind of almost builds itself as a take on all comers list, and that really helps out with A, working here, and just B, trying to get back into the game. So far my love right now is with Ultramarines. I'm slowly working on building up an army with them. A personal army, not a studio one. Number 5, rank your favorite to least favorite, the aspect of the hobby that you enjoy the most: assembly, painting, list building, and playing. The one that I hate the most is list building, because I sweat the small stuff and I take forever to build my list, and once I find a list that I can play really well, I like to stick with it, and Matt kind of doesn't want me to do that. He wants me to kind of experiment with everything, so it's kind of, that's what's being the big, that's probably my least favorite thing, is building a list, just because it's one of those, oh, I could have brought this, which I would have brought in the other game, but I wanted to try something different and they're not really working out for me, so that kind of happens a lot. Assembly is probably next on that list. I don't mind building, I do enjoy it, but on the ranking of everything, it's not my greatest thing, because it drives me absolutely insane when there's a gap and I actually have to green stuff it, and it's just like, this could have been fixed, this should fit together, why doesn't it fit? I get frustrated with that kind of stuff. Next up would be painting. I do very much like painting, but I tend to run into painter's block very often. Everybody knows what that is. Basically, you've been painting for a long time. I've painted all the stuff in the shells, all the stuff back here, all my Alpha Legion stuff, and while painting all of that, I very regularly hit a painter's block and have to go and do something else for anywhere from 10 minutes to a day before I can actually get back into it. And then top one obviously is playing the game. I love playing the game. I love the narratives that come with it. It's by far my absolute favorite thing to do is play the game. So, oh, and then with the challenge. Are you up for a 4-way Carnage game with Mike Grove, Hugh Genge, I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong, and myself in October? I see what you did there. All playing orcs to determine who the big boss is. I can't guarantee high quality tactics, but I can guarantee that you will laugh a lot and have a great game. Yes, I am so down for that. Yes, all of it. Yes. Email us, we'll figure something out. Thanks and good luck. No problem. Glad you're at MiniWarGaming. Give Owen our regards and hope you, and then your comment got cut off. I will give Owen your regards. Next comment we have Brer Mist. How did it feel to one-shot kill on Dave's Land Raider feel? Or how did the one-shot kill on Dave's Land Raider feel? So good. You ever have in anything in life where like, you do something and it happens so smoothly and so perfectly? It could be like you're shooting a basketball and it's just all net, or just anything like that. You go to find a parking spot in a parking place and there's like the spot right next to the door and it's so perfect and everything like that. That's how it felt to shoot Dave's Land Raider. It was like, I need a 2 to hit. I got it. I need a 6 to glance. Oh, I got a 7. And if it's a 6, it blows up. It blows up. Oh, and your Terminator took a wound? That's like the cherry on top. It was great. It felt so good. And I laughed at Dave for a very, 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 very long time. If you watch the clip, you'll see I'm laughing, and then the camera cuts. I laughed for a good 5 minutes after that. The Invisible Man won. Quirk, where are you from? Canada. I'm actually from St. Catharines, which is about a 20-minute drive from Welland, so that's where I was born and raised. Where do you live now? St. Catharines. So haven't moved very far. Are you in a relationship? Nope. What is your schedule like each week? It can be very, very slow, where I might have one game and the rest of the week is me just painting, booking other games, research on other armies, trying to figure stuff out, rereading the rules to try and make sure it all sticks in my head and learning it, trying to keep up to date with all the other rules for all the other games. So it can be quite hectic. And then there's other weeks where it's just game. And again, it's very hectic, but it's very fun. Have you been to Europe? I have. Do you go to the States often? Not this year. My passport actually expired this year, so I haven't gone to renew it just because I haven't had a reason to go to the States. But when I did have my passport, I was going over maybe once or twice a month, just going from Niagara Falls over to Buffalo. And just because back then our dollar was a little bit stronger, so it made sense to go over there because you guys had better deals. Can you do an Irish accent better than Matt? I don't know. I can certainly try. I'll read the next question with one. What other jobs have you had? That's the best you're gonna get. Well, and I'll just answer the question with one. Okay. What other jobs have you had? Well, for a little while there, I was working as a door-to-door salesman. I was convincing people that they needed my product, and I did everything I could to convince them. And every now and then, you got one sucker who was just like, yeah, you know what? I do need this, and they bought it, and it felt good. Otherwise, I worked in call centers, doing everything you could possibly think of. I worked for Bell, Rogers. I did a little while with Capital One. That was always fun, doing collection calls. So if you ever owed money to Capital One, there's a good chance I called you. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I spent most of my time in call centers and then working in retail shops. So I worked at Toys R Us, Future Shop, Best Buy. That's pretty much it. Do you tell the staff that you're doing an open vault, or do you always just spring it on them unexpectedly? Sometimes, depending on what they're doing, I have to give them a heads up. Like if Matt or Dave is working on something they want to keep a little bit secret, I have to kind of check first. But if somebody's playing a game, I'll usually just spring it in on them. And if they're on break or something like that, I'll usually spring it on them. But usually I'll give them a heads up that I'm going to be doing one, just so that if they are doing something they want to keep a little bit private for maybe a surprise later on, I usually check ahead of time. Next up, we often see people in open vaults that seem like your guys' friends. Do your friends often come to MiniWarGaming to just hang out? Yeah. Josh, the big beard, comes in almost every day. It's his schedule. He'll either come in before work or after work because it's on his way to and from, so he comes in quite a bit. We get, a lot of people come in and just hang out every now and then. It's a fun place to hang out because we have the tables, we have the models, you can play a game. We also have a pretty comfy office, so you can certainly come in here and sit and chit-chat. It's not uncommon for us to sit here until like 9 or 10 o'clock and just talk about stuff, so, yep. What are any major or minor rules disagreements between staff 40K members between staff members in 40K or other games? There aren't any major ones that come up. There's a lot of little minor ones that'll come up for certain things, and I think the closest one we got to anything that was kind of major was yesterday when Matt and Steve were trying to figure out a specific rule for something that was just a very common rule that everybody knew. Can't remember it off the top of my head. But they ended up tearing through about 4 or 5 Horus Heresy books trying to find the rule, and finally they figured it out and it confirmed it. It was just very, very, very obscure and all over the place. So yeah, that's pretty much it. We don't really have too many others. Usually they'll pop up in a game, we get it solved within about the 5 to 10 minutes it would usually take just to kind of double check the rules on it. Have you seen the new Star Wars? What do you think? I have seen the new Star Wars. I didn't like it. As a Star Wars, just a general movie, it was great. As a Star Wars movie, it was okay, but I felt like I've heard this story once or twice before, and all it was just pretty new graphics. So I'm gonna get a lot of hate for that one. Sorry, guys. What video game consoles do you own? A lot. I have an Xbox One, a 3DS, a computer. Obviously, I have my gaming computer right behind me. PlayStation, Xbox 360, PlayStation 2, original PlayStation, GameCube, Wii, Wii U. I have a lot of games. I like to play video games, so I have quite a few. How often do you get your mohawk cut? Every 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks I go and get my mohawk cut. If I don't, it gets really, I haven't got it cut yet. I'm getting it cut tomorrow. So it gets really, really curly. Like there's some product in it right now just preventing that. And then my sides grow in, and this drives me insane. So, ooh, I'll see if I can get them to like do some kind of crazy design in my hair. Yeah, just for you guys. And finally, does anyone else in life call you Quirk besides the MiniWarGaming community? Yes. My first name's Dave, and there's so many Daves in the world that everybody just refers to me by my last name because it's easier than being like Dave and watching 4 people in the room turn their head. All through high school, there was about 6 Daves, and none of us went by Dave. It was actually kind of funny when people found out our name was Dave, because it would be like, oh, it's Quirk, it's Fenner, it's Garbut, it's whatever. There's just their names. It's what people thought we were called. So, yeah, for a good portion of my life, I've just been called Quirk. My friends still call me Quirk outside of MiniWarGaming. So, yeah, people call me Quirk. Battle Mad Bat. Hi, Quirk. Hi. Hope you are fine. Could you imagine battle reports where the content producers played with viewer-submitted lists? Of course, not in every game, but once in a while. This could be potentially a cool mix between list for review type of thing and a regular battle report. And on the other side, the guys could give you the have-to play every day and some new inspirations. Cheers from Germany. Cool. Yeah, I very much like that idea. What I've been doing a lot with my X-Wing battle reports, I've been saying, guys, submit your list and I will play it, because we have all the stuff here. Like, we have tons and tons and tons of X-Wing ships, so it's not very difficult for me to build a list that's been submitted from you guys. So I wholeheartedly support this. If you guys have a list that you would like to see us play, if you want to email us or submit it through a comment, we will do what we can to get as close as we possibly can, if not play that exact list, and we will certainly give you a shout out for it. Like, I know I will definitely give you guys a shout out for it if there's a certain list that you submitted and I'm playing and I'm using the tactics that you gave, full on submission. And if you win, I'm taking all the credit. Yeah. Mentality. Quirk. There are 3 guys in a tiny room, many energy drinks, large lunches. Do you have a rule that if someone farts, they have to do it into the painting exhaust fan? That would be a really good idea. That would solve a lot of problems. No, we don't have a rule like that. Usually it's the whodunit game. Usually it's Lee. Or me. Oddly enough, not Steve. But yeah, it can get pretty rank in here, and every now and then Matt will be hilarious and hear somebody fart and close the door, and it just becomes like a chamber of terrible smells. Unpure. Quark! Sorry, had to do that. It's okay. As an orc player, I favor bikes and lots of them, and even run the Forge World War Boss so I don't have to bring any boys. Good call. You have even commented on them when I have posted them on your Facebook. Yes, I remember that. I find the speed in having twin link guns offsets a lot of orc flaws. How are you finding them as an army, and what would you like to see changed/added to make them a little bit more competitive? Thanks, and remember, we WOG. For there we are. Therefore we are. Okay. 2 wound ludas would be nice. No, I'm only kidding. Please, I need to stop doing that. I like the bikes. The bikes are really, really cool. What would be nice to see is some sort of almost like an assault type. Like, we have the war buggies and stuff like that, but it would be really nice to see some sort of assault bike thing where you have the rider and the guy inside with a gun. Again, that sounds a lot like a war buggy, but it'd be nice to see something a little bit closer to that, or even like a Def Copta with a side cart to it would be really nice, just to have that like a jet bike rule set, while having some sort of a heavy weapon on it aside from the rocket launcher or the big shooter or the bombs and stuff like that. But that's personal preference. It would just be nice to see in some way orcs get something that has skimmer aside from the Def Coptas. I mean, we steal all the technology. We should be able to figure this out. So, Colossus. Which armies do you enjoy or despise fighting, and why? I really, really, really enjoy fighting Tyranids, especially with orcs, because then it's just numbers going at each other. I know it sounds like a boring battle report, but it's really, really fun when you have like the monstrous creature and all the little guys running underneath it. You've got the big walkers and stompers and stuff like that, and all the boys running with it. It feels like a giant epic battle, whereas you see like some of these elite armies where they have maybe 30 models, but 2 of them are monstrous creatures, so it's really, really hard to punch through. Those are neat, but it feels more like those are specialist lists that be sent in to deal with one specific problem, and when they're fighting like a huge army and they're just going to town, it's like, this doesn't really feel like that. It feels more like a meat grinder type game. I despise fighting Tau. Obvious reasons, but mostly because they just gunline, and with orcs or with harlequins, it's no bueno. Which other armies would you like to pick up in addition to your orcs / harlequins? And I'm assuming you also mean and / space marines. A little bit more Eldar would be nice, like just to kind of round out the harlequins. But if I had to pick up something completely fresh, it would probably be either Grey Knights, or I would actually probably go into Necrons a little bit. But the thing is, I know a lot of hate's going on with the Necrons right now, and that kind of deters me from wanting to play them, just because I feel like a bandwagon jumper a little bit. After your recent matchup with Dave, I think you need to play Chaos as a secondary. That's a good option. Love the content, keep up the good work. P.S. Tell Steve to play his Necrons more. Okay, I will. XYZ Dude. Nope, Steve's shaking his head saying no, he's not going to play Necrons anymore. XYZ Dude 0, when are you guys going to cross over with Epic Mealtime? Soon, I hope. That would be awesome, because I just really want like a burger that's like this, and yeah. I have no idea. I don't think we're even in any type of communication with them, but yeah, I do very much think that we should try and collaborate something where they just have like some 40K inspired meal and we eat it. Dr. William 13, tell Matt it is great to see the stock photos replaced with real pictures. I will do that. By Tenshi, you should do a series of Tactica videos. Quirk Tips is a great name. It is a great name. I like that. That's a very good name. Ooh, hang on. Okay, just making sure. Quirk Tips is a great name. Yeah. I don't think I'm that good with Tactica, at least not with 40K, to kind of make an entire series out of it. I would have to play a lot more. Like, for example, Steve's been playing for a year solid, and I've only been playing for maybe the past 4 months, getting back into it. So my Tactica isn't the greatest. I've been mostly reading stuff and kind of learning from it, not so much being able to come up with my own. So I'm kind of still working on building my own style. With War Machine, there's a lot of stuff out there that you can get tactics from. And again, I feel like I would just be repeating certain things that people have already said. I can certainly do that, but again, I'm gonna feel like I'm repeating things that people have already said. Same thing goes with any Fantasy Flight game, Star Wars, Armada. I'm going to be repeating stuff that's been said already, but I can certainly look into doing that and see what I can come up with, and that is a good idea. And a Quirk Tip is I feel like yeah, I'll see what I can do. JM Recoil, Quirk, since narrative campaigns have made a comeback in 2016, how about one for War Machine? You should really check out that Vault video I just posted. We all love the Iron Kingdom stuff, and your battle reports from the game I think would be a great draw into the MiniWarGaming site. Vault member for life, and looking forward to the upcoming content in 2016. Well, thank you very much, JM Recoil. Yes, I actually left a comment in the Vault video saying that I'm going to be trying to do some sort of a narrative type thing for War Machine, but the thing is, I'm not sure if I want to have it a narrative type where it's just all the different, this is kind of what happened with the last time I tried it, is that it's all the different armies coming in. I have to try and build a story around all of them and try and merge them all together, and it gets really difficult when you have guests coming in, and it's like, I have a story going on over here where Retribution and Circle are kind of duking it out, or Retribution and Puppet Masters have been duking it out, and then over here I've got mercenaries trying to fend off against Legion, and then somebody comes in with Scorn. It's like, okay, well now I have to incorporate Scorn into the story somehow and try and make everything kind of work together. And the thing is, if I get a lot of guests for a long period of time, just bringing in Scorn and Scorn and Scorn, or a lot of Circle, or just if I get a lot of one army, it kind of goes on with their story a little bit, and it would be very, very easy for their story to just kind of get away from everybody else, and then everybody else has to kind of play catch up. So it almost Quentin Tarantino's it a little bit, where I'm kind of going back and forth in time with a narrative. So I wasn't sure if that's what you guys were interested in, or if you guys wanted me to try and do like a slow grow league, like build up an army and start off with maybe a warcaster, and then she has a few little things here and there, and then as time goes on, she starts to build up a bit more of a ready, almost like what we're doing with the Path of Glory campaign with Dave and I. Do that a little bit more with the War Machine style one, where it's just, it kind of builds up an army to the point where I have 50 points, and then I start playing with that a little bit. It kind of builds up the story of that Warcaster's encounters. That's kind of the one I'm leaning a little bit more towards, just because it seems like it'd be not so much simpler, but it'd be a lot easier to manage with the different guests coming in. So that might be something I look into doing, and I can definitely build out fluff for that, because I wholeheartedly agree the Iron Kingdoms have a huge library available for just the fluff and stuff like that. So it's very nice. And the nice thing about it is that it's all kind of played out in one area. So instead of it being like galactic battles all over the place, I'm not ripping on this in any way, but I'm just saying it's a different story type. Instead of being galactic battles that are happening all over the place and anything can happen anywhere, this one kind of pigeonholes it a little bit, where it's like, you know what, I need to try and make this scenario work with everything else. So it adds a little bit of a challenge, but also makes it so that the stories kind of pan out and go together a little bit nicer. So it's definitely something I'll be looking into doing. Rombone05. I would also enjoy more tactical videos, army list talk, rules discussion, competitive and casual tactics, etc. I love the battle reports, the sit-and talks, and Chris's tutorials. I just feel all the content you guys have invested time into in the past has been wonderful as well. All right, that wasn't really a question, it was more a comment, but yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. And just with the more tactical videos and army list talk, again, it's just, I need to learn a little bit more about 40K to start actually doing tactical stuff. But I can certainly look into doing it for War Machine and the Fantasy Flight games. Baramist, Quirk, how many cans of Rockstar did you have to turn in to get that hoodie you wear? Yeah, okay. None, but the thing is, okay, so this has a little bit of explaining to it. For about 4 years back when I was in like my mid-teens, I did motocross as kind of like a hobby. And every time I went to any of the venues, there was always Rockstar stuff for sale and things like that. And for like the past year or so, I had been walking past the booth, and I always buy like a can or two from there, but I never bought any of the clothes, but I always had some sort of a Rockstar can with me. And it got to the point where finally I was walking by, and the same guy who had seen me every single time before was like, you know what, we should just sponsor you. I was like, that'd be great. He was kidding, I didn't get sponsored, but he did just give me the hoodie. So if you ever actually look at the hoodie and you notice one of my elbows is completely ripped like to shreds, that was because I wiped out while wearing the hoodie while riding my dirt bike. So that's how I got that hoodie. It wasn't like trading in cans or anything like that, but I should look into doing that. I'll just send them all the tabs from here. Yeah, that'd be a lot. Night Lord 100. Iron Hand, Clan, Ruka supplement. Okay. I'm not sure what's going on with that one. Death's Audit, Quirk. The rules about grenades in combat are a bit confusing as written. It seems clear by the rules that only one grenade can be thrown in the shooting phase by a unit. However, in melee it says that a model can use a grenade in close combat in lieu of their normal weapon. So does this mean that all models in the unit with grenades can use them in one fight subphase? Or is it still only one model in the unit that's allowed to use a grenade? My group and I are split on this, and the intent seems to be as well. I was just wondering what yours and MiniWarGaming's thoughts might be. P.S. I saw in the Path to Glory episode 1, Dave used his crack grenades on the berserkers against your defiler. I agree with that being how it should be. Yeah. I wholeheartedly agree that in melee it should be, if the entire unit can carry grenades, which they usually can, they should all be allowed to use their grenades in melee. The way I see it in shooting is that everybody's kind of shooting, and there's that one guy who's taking the time to pull the pin and throw it. So that's kind of how I see it, as that in melee everybody can do it, but in the shooting phase it's only the one. I can totally understand your point of view where it can go either way. Personal preference, and I think how we do it here is just, you can, if everybody has a grenade, they can all use it in melee. Shooting phase is only one. Mentality. Quirk, I love the Harlequins and Orcs. They're my two favorite armies. Even though they both like close combat and are very different, I hope you don't give up on the Harlequins, as they require a lot of finesse and understanding of close combat mechanics to master. Haha. And wouldn't it be great to beat Steve with them? Yes. Yes, it would. That would, yes. Have you even thought about bringing a Wraith Knight ally to even out the odds? The thoughts crossed my mind. Maybe. I thought about it. Yeah. That's my answer to that one. Okay. Chozoni1. Firstly, I just want to say, yay Quirk. Thank you. Secondly, I want to ask about the lack of War Machine content in the recent days. I've got my own guesses and theories as to where it went, but it'd be nice to get official word as to whether you guys have discontinued covering the game or not, or are just working on it. Something, please. Certainly. Simplest answer was New Year's. I got a little bit confused with how many battle reports I had filmed, and what ended up happening was I ended up missing one of the weeks that we were supposed to put them out, so that's why you're actually seeing a larger Lou in the War Machine content, but I have started filming them again, so you will, I think there would have been one that got posted on Tuesday this week, so you will have seen that one starting, and they're going to start going back to bi-weekly again. So that was just honestly 100% a mistake on my part. Okay. Next up, we have Whitmore Gator. Quirk, I've already forgotten why you go by your last name. Is it because someone already has your name, right? What is it again? My first name's Dave, but we already have a Dave. So instead of it being Dave and Dave Quirk, we just go Quirk. Just makes life easier. Alrighty. Eric R. Happy New Year's, MiniWarGamers. Happy New Year's. Hooray, sit and talk. Having high hopes for MiniWarGaming in 2016. Yeah, thank you very much, Eric. And that's actually a fantastic comment to end on, because that has been our 30 minutes. Vault members, go ahead and click the link below. You'll get access to the second half of or you'll get access to the Sit and Vault. I'm not new to this, so don't tell Matt. Yeah, go ahead and click the link below if you want to see the second half with our Sit and Vault. If you're not already a Vault member, go ahead and click that link anyway. You will get access to the continuation of this, as well as all the other stuff that we do here, like participating tutorials, extra battle reports, and open vaults. But until then, guys, happy wargaming.